Hey guys, welcome tonight's live. How is everybody doing this evening? Hopefully you guys are all having a great day. Great start to your end of the week. It's hump day and I thought it was Thursday today. So I'm a little disappointed. I was telling Mike that in the chat before the live. I was like, "Oh, I thought it was Thursday all day today." Up until about an hour ago. So I'm a little off, but that's all right. That's all right. We're all here. If you're new to the channel, I'm Tanya or TitaniumBuilt. Thank you for joining us tonight. You could be on any other channel, but you've chosen this one. So that says a lot. And if you're a returning Titan, well, welcome back. I got you a hook, line, and sinker. Got you to come back and join me for yet another live. So welcome on in. If it's a little noisy, that's because the dog's throwing her bone around like crazy. I don't know why. She wants someone's attention. So she's over there throwing her big, massive bone on the floor. Mary Beth became a new member, but you've been a member. You must have just renewed. And you're a Titan tier 2. You're the highest tier. Thank you so much, Mary Beth. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I always have to do that. Like update my. They're like, do you still want to be a member? And I'm like, yeah, I still want to be a member. I'm a member of a couple channels. So tonight we're going to talk about a case that we talked about a few days ago, but we didn't know if we were going to come back to it this fast, and we're coming back to it pretty quick. So I'm kind of excited about it. Got the green chat again. Yes, they're member for 2 months. I need to start using my little member things, my little member badges. I always forget about those. Those are the funnest too. I love seeing them in the chat because then I know exactly how long y'all been members, and that reminds me. It reminds me. But if you guys don't mind just taking a second, hit the like button, all those fun things that we tell you to do in the beginning of a live. Also, subscribe to the channel. We'd love to have you in the chat. I do have it on subscriber only mode for I think you only have to be a subscriber for 1 minute. So just, it helps, it weeds out, the bad people or whatever. Just in case I don't have mods, sometimes it's just me. It's me in the chat. That's always a good thing though. I always have you guys to help me out. So let me get her picture up here. I'm all over the place. I need to move this microphone. This microphone's like the way it's positioned. Now that we're in the new studio, I don't like it. So I'm going to put her picture up. I wish I have some more bigger ones too. This one's a little bit of a smaller one. But we're going to talk about Ella Jones, and I'm going to give you a little bit of background. We did talk about her the other night on our live. But on January 6th, 14-year-old Ella Jones, she said goodnight to her mother about 9 p.m. She told her she was going to go to bed and that she would see her the next morning. When Ella's mom woke up the next morning, she made breakfast. She didn't emerge from her room by 11. So she went into her bedroom just to check up on her, see how she was doing. It was a Saturday morning. So, she let her sleep in. After walking into Ella's room, she found that her room was empty. Her bed was empty. She was nowhere to be found. So just like most mothers, she went around to the teens in the area, and she discovered that her daughter was talking to a man named Keith who was in his 30s. She's 14 years old. Her mom had already put parental locks on her phone, parental locks with the school computer. She had talked with the school. The school was supposed to be helping monitor that. Well, obviously the school wasn't monitoring it all the way because she did, in fact, was able to reach out to this man that was 30 years old. I mean, makes me so mad. Let me show you a picture of him. So on February 1st, thank you, Mary Beth, for gifting out 5 memberships. Thank you so much. Bringing them on in. And welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Every teenager knows how to get around the parental locks. You're groovy, Nikki. You're absolutely right. She said that she looked at her phone and she didn't find any apps that looked like she could reach out to people on. But I know that there's an app that looks like a calculator that you can hide apps inside of it. It's very freaky. For them women, for those teenagers out there, not for the women, but for the teenagers out there, that are trying to hide. Well, I guess adults are probably trying to hide stuff too. Hey, Daisy Jones, welcome in. So this is a picture of him. I know what you're thinking. What the hell was she thinking? But, only time will tell. On February 1st, they found Ella with this man, Keith Freckerson. So he was using the same name. He was using Keith. He was using his real name. He is charged with 9 counts felony counts these are. And let me get you another picture of him. This is a picture of him in arraignment. He looks kind of lost. I'm going to try to say these as best as I can because, so it's 2 counts of, trafficking. They're going to know what I'm saying. A minor. 3 counts of third-degree criminal S conduct involving a minor. 1 count of first-degree criminal S conduct. 1 count of accosting a child for immoral purposes. And 2 counts of using a computer to commit a crime. He faces up to life in prison if he's convicted. And I call that a good day. I hope he is convicted. He's already been arraigned, yeah, on the 2nd. I was trying to find the full video clip of it, and I couldn't before the live, and I was so mad. And I was trying to find more on his, like some more of the court documents, but I think that I'm going to have to put in a FOIA because that's what I was hearing on the Nancy Grace podcast or video today. There's Ashley. You know who else I was thinking of? Where's Alicia been? Does anyone know? Alicia, if you're listening to this, I need to email you. Email Alicia. Let me write that down. I was going to email her last night after the live. I got off the live and I was like, I haven't seen Alicia in a while. Sometimes, I notice when y'all are not here. So it might take me a minute. It might take me a minute because sometimes I'm a little slow, but I'll remember. It might be a year from now. I might be like, where's Grammy the Great been or something? Hello, Grammy. Using you as an example. Let me close out these windows of the pictures, but that's a picture of him. He's his real name. I mean, criminals. I like when they do their Google searches too. Here's another picture of him. This is the offenders and predators search. He is on the Florida department. Now, when you go to the Michigan department to look it up, it says there's like a failure with the page. So I'm not sure if that's something that's going on with their system right now or what. But I heard that he didn't even register out there. So maybe that's what it could be. It could be he didn't even register there. So this is where he's showing. It just says body location, none reported, which that's for scars, marks, tattoos. Address is the same, like address, last reported address out of state. It says he reported in South Haven, but I don't know if that's the same address as the one that he was found at. And then we've got possession of photos/pictures showing S performance by a child. That was in Seminole County. I think it just pulls up what this means. Wait, go back. Oh, did I really expire the page? I did. Okay, we'll just go back and re-find it. Because it came right up. I'll have to look for it. But anyway, that's his, I'll find it again. But that was his Florida department search. Now on there, it shows that he does drive a Volkswagen. 2 of them, it looked like he owned 2006 and a 2020 or 2017, 2006. Man, I'm just trying to she wasn't even born when that car came out. Oh my gosh. Your car's older than the girl. You know what I mean? It's just so crazy. I don't know what a 30-year-old, I guess that's one good thing. That's a good thing. That's a good thing about me. I don't know what I'd want with a child, but what would you want? You're 30 years old and she's across the United States. What are you doing, man? So she went from Washington. If you guys aren't familiar, she lived in Washington. And she went from Washington and was found in Michigan. She went missing on January the 6th, and she was found February the 1st. So she was gone out the gate. Oh, I thought I was on the screen. She was gone out of home, out of there for 3 weeks, almost a month, a full month. I can't even imagine what happened in those 3 weeks. Look at you being a member for 9 months. Oh my gosh, I love that. I know. What was that girl thinking? I know, Nikki. I don't think she knew. They're saying that he was grooming her, and I mean, Yes, I'm so glad that she is like, we don't really get to hear about the, found safe, like found like she wasn't found really as safe, but she was safe. Like found okay. She was found, no, she wasn't in any, she wasn't hurting. Like he wasn't hurting her or anything, which is good. I mean, mentally, physically, I'm sure he was. I mean, she's 14, but oh man. But Nancy did get an interview with her mom. Her mom has been, I mean, her mom, like, if I went missing, I would want her mom to come looking for me, you know. Oh, no, that's okay, Ashley. I'm sorry. No, I just noticed that you weren't here. Like maybe it was just for one day, even. And I was like, oh, that's reminded me because I noticed when you guys aren't gone, you're gone. So this is going to be in Paw Paw, Michigan, but this isn't where she was found. This is just where it was wrote. It's kind of a cute name. I wonder if Steve knows where that's at, or if he knows where any of this is, like South Haven. He probably does because he's from Michigan. So a registered S offender was charged with several felonies, including R, after authorities say he groomed a teen girl online for months, drove to Washington State to get her, and brought her back to his home near South Haven. Now, when I first read that, I was like, what? I thought she took an Uber. So we're going to have to see about that whole Uber thing, because that's how they ended up finding her, was through the rideshare. And it made it sound like he had a rideshare pick her up from Washington and like truck her across state lines. So we'll have to see. At a news conference before the suspect's Friday arraignment, the girl's mother thanked investigators for their hard work to find her daughter. I get to bring my daughter home, she said. The past 3 weeks have been nothing short of a nightmare, and one I hope no other parent have to experience. Keith Freckerson, 30, appeared in a South Haven courtroom via video to be arraigned on 9 criminal counts, including multiple counts of human trafficking of a minor for commercial S activity and criminal S conduct. Yeah, you're not going to do too good where you're going, buddy. This individual is a convicted S offender who groomed a 14-year-old girl online for a significant period of time. He then took it upon himself to travel across the country, take this 14-year-old girl from her home state of Washington, and kept her here in Van Buren County for roughly 3 weeks. That's federal. State lines, you're going away for a long time. We believe that he is an extreme risk to the public, Assistant Prosecutor Rachel Keeley told the judge. Judge Arthur Clark agreed, also saying he believes Freckerson is a flight risk and noting there is great evidence towards his guilt. He denied bond. Wow. Denied bond. Look at Catherine being a member for 9 months too. Thank you guys so much. That really means a lot. Oh, thank you. I love the milestones. So, wow, denied bond. I love that. That means Freckerson will stay behind bars while his case makes its way through the judicial system. He's expected back in court on February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day. And February 22nd. He said his family was getting him an attorney. Good luck. My family said they're getting me an attorney. Good luck. I bet they don't get him an attorney. Wow. He's 30 years old. He should be getting his own damn attorney. He's big boy. He made the big boy, mistakes. He can make the big boy phone call to the local freaking attorney's office. My opinion. He is also expected to face new charges in Washington, the Van Buren County Sheriff said. Freckerson was previously convicted of child P charges in the Orlando, Florida area in 2017. And I showed you that. That was the picture that we looked of him. And then it says here, the 14-year-old girl who's, well, we all know her name. Oh, this is a girl here. Okay, this is someone else. This is the same one. 14-year-old girl whose name News 8 is not using because she is a juvenile and may be the victim of a crime. Also reported missing January 6th from Mount Vernon, which is north of Seattle. Initially considered a runaway, police soon realized that she'd been speaking with a strange man online for several months. The man who provided her with money and other gifts, clearly grooming this young lady and gaining this naive girl's confidence. Van Buren County Sheriff's Office Detective Lieutenant David Walker told Judge Clark during a probable cause hearing on Thursday. Walkerson said Ferguson clearly knew this girl was a teenager. She told him her age. They built up a relationship. He was able to talk her into him picking her up In the state of Washington, Walker said, the missing girl never told any family or friends that this was her plan. Investigators were able to use license plate readers in various states and cell phone records to track his car from South Haven to Mount Vernon, where he stayed for about 13 hours before returning to Michigan, Walker said. Mount Vernon police say they learned the teen may have used a ride-sharing service and tracked down who ordered the car. That pointed them to Ferguson. So he must have ordered the car for her. Maybe he went to work or whatever. She wanted out of the house. At one point, he ordered a car share. The Van Buren County Sheriff's Office says detectives got a call Wednesday from the FBI Seattle office looking for information about Ferguson and filling sheriff's detectives in on the case. It was enough to get a search warrant, Sheriff Dan Abbott said Friday. Abbott said his officers checked out Ferguson's home on Blue Star Memorial Highway in South Haven Township. The suspect vehicle used to transport the victim from Washington to here was observed on the property. Abbott explained there are 3 homes on the property. He said that detectives confirmed Ferguson was in one of them, so he moved in to get him Wednesday evening. And you'll hear on the Nancy video also that like two of them, I think out of the 3, they didn't look they looked inhabitable. The suspect immediately said the teen was there to detectives that was talking to him. Abbott said, however, once they read the Miranda rights, he lawyered up right away and wouldn't speak anymore. Other family members on the property pointed detectives to where the girl was. So they knew there was this girl there and they did nothing about it. Like, I mean, how old did you think she was? Like, where did you think she came from? A girl that looks like Ella, that definitely looks 14, shows up with your 30-year-old kid, family member, whatever, and y'all just think she's 18 and he's 30 and that's cool. That's still not giving you, you're still not side-eyeing that, because I would be side-eyeing the hell out of that. I don't care. I would. 30 years old, you have nothing in common. The teen disclosed to investigators that he provided her housing, a cell phone, clothing, food, and marijuana on multiple occasions while she was at his home. Probably more than that. Walker went on to say that the teen told investigators about multiple encounters with Ferguson while she was at his home, and that while she was still in Washington, she sent him nude photos. After she was found, the teen's parents were soon on a plane to Michigan. They were expected to return to Washington Friday night. By God's grace, the victim was able to be reunited with her family alive and able to recover from what she went through over these past 3 weeks. Not every victim can say that nor walk away from something like this alive, Abbott said at the Friday news conference, reading from prepared remarks. He added, while there are no other known victims, more may have come forward now that the case is public. Yeah, maybe. I've seen it over and over, and nothing good comes out of child opening up an app and talking to a total stranger on a computer. He would not name the specific social media platform involved in the case, but said it was since been taken down. I'll say it, Omegle. We've all heard the conversation for years about something's got to be done, but yet nothing's getting done, Abbott said. He said he hopes the case will serve as a catalyst to hold app and tech companies accountable for keeping kids safe for new federal legislation to better control convicted sex offenders' online activity. There are safeguards on millions of products in this world, yet websites are still readily available to our children at the touch of their fingertips. I ask you why. Why is there a website like the one used in this case where it's okay for a kid to get on this website and talk to a total stranger? I would love to have the company defend why that's a good idea. Because they only have to put in a birthday and say that they're 18 and click the little box. I'm 18. That's all you have to do. I can say I'm 18. This is a call to action, the teen's mother said. The predator was able to use social media platforms to reach my child from across the country. He was able to use these platforms to groom my child over an extended period of time. How many more children have to be victimized before these social media platforms are held to a higher standard? How many more families have to suffer the way mine has? I have a feeling this lady's going to get some shit done. The sheriff urged parents to watch what their kids are doing online. You can watch all you want. Them kids sneaky, snaky. They'll be in the shower pretending like they're taking a shower, being on their phone. You know what I mean? Like, kids are sneaky. They will do something. They will get around it. We were all kids once. They're sneaky. If they get mad at you, it is what it is, he said. I think most parents would say they would rather have a mad child than a child who has to go through this or winds up missing and never recovered. He said to watch for signs of something may be wrong. That's true. Like sudden behavioral changes. He said his department school resources. He said his department school resources officers are trained to watch for warning signs too. So she was all the way in Michigan. This kid's going to need extensive therapy. Oh, for sure. Hey, Deborah Ann, how you doing? So I wanted to show you guys this video. I watched this and I was like, whoa, Nancy got her mom. So Nancy got not only Ella's mom to come back on, she got this investigator to come on as well. And so they talk about the whole case. They're going to talk about everything that happened when Ella was away. And she's got the juice. So I'm going to let this play for just a moment. We'll probably pause it here and there. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, all those good things.
Hours, a little girl who's just turned 14 years old has been found. Where has she been? With a registered sex predator, thousands of miles away from home. That's right. A registered sex offender who was trading child porn online engineered a kidnap of a 14-year-old Washington State girl and held her for weeks. Joining us, her mother, detailing her desperate search for Ella. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. Thank you for being with us here at Crime Stories and on Sirius XM 111. Thousands of miles away from home with a registered sex offender, a little girl who's just turned 14, with a guy that peddles child porn online. It's every parent's worst nightmare. But this time, unlike so many other stranger on stranger child abductions, Ella lived. Listen to this.
Detectives observed several individuals on the property inside residences, as there were 3 homes on the property. Detectives did confirm the suspect was in one of the residences. Detectives had the local police agency, which were in uniforms and marked cars, roll in with them and execute the search warrant. Once the search warrant was executed, all individuals.
To me, that looks like a little compound. Like, look at that. That's back in the woods. You can't tell me that's not.
Were then separated so that the detectives.
And I'm from the
could start
country.
Interview process. The suspect immediately said she was there to the detectives that was talking to him. However, once they read Miranda, he lawyered up right away and wouldn't speak anymore.
With me, an all-star panel to make sense of what we know right now. In addition to Miss Merrill, this is Ella's mom. Miss Merrill, thank you for joining us. Finding Ella was not only the answer to so many millions of prayers across our country, but it is also rare in a stranger on stranger child abduction where the child has been gone for weeks. We rarely get this kind.
I wonder what he was sending
news.
her.
And I want to hear, and everyone wants to hear, what went through your mind when you learned Ella had been found and she's alive.
I just broke down into tears. I'm still, to be honest, in a state of shock. I'm not really sure how to process things. There's a lot of things just spinning around in your mind and a lot of questions, and those can wait. Right now, I'm just focused on hugging her and having her back and trying to figure out what our next steps are.
I in no way want to jeopardize the ongoing investigation and prosecution of the kidnapper, but please tell us what you can. How did you find out Ella had been found?
I got a call from the detective here in Washington saying that Michigan had gone in and recovered her and she was safe.
Did you have any idea she was in Michigan?
We had our suspicions. I was waiting very impatiently for about a day to figure out if those leads were in fact correct and what was going to happen at that point. After knowing that we were looking in that direction and had a fairly confident suspect in mind to look for, it was really in the police's hand, and I just had to sit and wait.
Also joining us, in addition to Ella's mother, is Lieutenant Dave Shackleton with the Mount Vernon PD, part of this investigation. Lieutenant, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Just thinking about how you guys managed to facilitate tracking down a missing 14-year-old girl. Can you believe this guy, a registered sex offender, was under no supervision anymore after peddling child porn, and he can jump up and get on Discord and meet a 14-year-old little girl and orchestrate kidnapping her?
Just want to say, YouTube, this is Nancy saying these words, not me. She says it a lot.
What were
bad
your
words.
thoughts during the investigation?
Hey guys,
Yeah,
welcome
we were
in.
very concerned all along. Anytime somebody goes missing and then cuts off all contact at all with family and friends, and then ultimately to find out that the suspect had sex offender history and what their provisions were are hard to know because it was so far away, but very, very disturbing when we heard who the offender was.
Tell me something. Exactly how far away was Ella from home?
More than 2,000 miles across several states.
I don't want you.
Has anyone traveled like that before in a car? 2,000 miles cross country? I sure as haven't. I've been across the country on a plane, and that's torture. 4 hours on a plane. It's like 6 hours. I don't know how, with the time change is weird, but you know what I mean? It's just 4 hours.
You to be on the hot seat. I know you can't reveal a lot of the facts, but anything you can
I'd say
tell
you
us,
better get me a
Lieutenant
plane ticket.
Shackleton, please do, so other parents can hear what's going on. The mom had no idea her little girl was 2,000 miles away with a child pornographer. Were they alone in the car during the 2,000-mile drive, Lieutenant? Do we know that?
That's not something I can say definitively.
Okay.
The investigation isn't over, and we're continuing to follow up, trying to gather as much information we can, along with the Van Buren County Sheriff's Office, as to what occurred between here and there.
Miss Merrill, when you realized Ella was gone, you immediately, of course, reported her missing and went out looking for yourself. You could not just sit at home and wait for something to happen. You went out looking, and one of the first places you went was to her friend's home. And it was there that you first heard the name Keith. And it's amazing to me, this guy was such an idiot that he went online with his real name. But thank God that he did, because you were able to relay that name to police.
Yeah, it wasn't
You're
until
such a
we were
dumb.
able to track down more information that everything was able to fall into place.
Who wants to be
We
around?
definitely
No
needed
offense,
more
but
links
the name Keith
to
doesn't
have
sound
the
very
puzzle go
appealing.
together. And it is frustrating to know some of those pieces we had within a couple days. And so looking back, being like, I saw that, or you know what I mean? I just didn't understand how it connected to anything. So that's a little frustrating, but I can't really spend time being frustrated about
Yeah.
that, because like you
It's
said,
amazing
I
to
don't
me.
even understand how she's in one piece.
It's amazing to me. It's incredible and wonderful that you were able to provide police so much information, whether it made sense at the time or not. What were you doing when the call came to tell you Ella had been found?
I was trying to focus on what our next steps were. And I mean, I had a very strong support group who were helping me from all over. I had family in Australia and Europe and all over the United States doing stuff on the internet. So that's part of
what were you
how I
actually
was able to
doing?
have the
Were
internet
you cleaning the
presence. I was
kitchen?
literally,
Were you washing
I was
dishes?
trying to,
What were you doing?
I was trying to get the group and I were making plans on how we could move flyers into different areas and spread across different highways. We were still looking for, because until I had any confirmation, I didn't want to give up. I didn't want to not be doing that while we didn't have 100% confirmation of whether we had found her or not.
Joining us is Allie Jennerjohn.
I did see the letter. Remember, she wrote a letter. I completely forgot about that. But she wrote a letter to her mom, but they never showed us the letter last time. Let me see if I can find that again, because I had it. I don't know if I bookmarked it, and my my internet page went down one day, and I was like on my tabs. So let me look for that.
Anchor reporter for WWMT TV News Channel 3. Allie, thank you for being with us. Tell me about your discovery that Ella had been found alive.
Yeah, so we actually gratefully have sister stations across the country, and we have one located in Seattle, Michigan. So we were kind of working together, and at the time I was in a courtroom covering a different case, and I saw the sheriff walk in, and he spoke with the prosecutor, and then the prosecutor made a note that, you know, she needed to take a break the next day around noon to do a press conference on, you know, a case that was a national level. So I immediately texted the sheriff, and he's like, you know, I can't tell you anything, but I know that this is a big story. You guys are going to want to be here. Like, please don't ask me any more questions. And then our sister station put out a story about the victim being found, and we knew, like, we had to get ready. This is what this story is going to be about. So we started digging into the suspect, made a plan to be there the next day, and that's when they made the official confirmed announcement that she had been found and located in our DMA.
You know, if you divide 2,000 by 24 hours, that is quite a trek. The two of them alone on the way from home, where Ella is from, all the way to where the registered sex offender lived. And we're also learning that other people live there as well. Take a listen to Sheriff Abbott.
Additional family members did cooperate with our detectives on the victim's location on the property. They also confirmed to our detectives that she had been there for approximately 3 weeks. Once detectives found out her location, they went and entered the structure and located the victim immediately. The investigation continued, and the victim was taken into protective custody and turned over to CPS.
How did those family members not know a little girl was being held?
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
I understand, Lieutenant Shackleton, there were several residences there together, maybe 3.
Yeah, that's my understanding from the report that Van Buren gave us.
Wow. Okay, it reminds me of a beautiful little girl named Jessica Lunsford. Listen.
Mark Lunsford arrives home from work at 6 a.m. and hears the alarm going off in his daughter's bedroom. So he goes to turn it off and make sure his 9-year-old daughter Jessica is up and getting ready for school. Jessica isn't in the bedroom. Mark Lunsford searches the house, but Jessica has vanished. Reporting her missing, police and volunteers begin searching immediately. Jessica was last seen around 10 p.m. the night before when her grandparents put her to bed, and the only thing missing from her bedroom is her favorite stuffed dolphin. Police interview area registered sex offenders and search their homes. John Cooey is a 46-year-old sex offender who lives about 100 yards from the Lunsford home. Deputies visit Cooey 4 times and talk to him, but they never asked to go inside.
And more.
John Cooey leaves the area shortly after Jessica disappeared and heads to Georgia. Police track him down and interview him. He claims he's looking for a job. Cooey had been living with his sister in a trailer near the Lunsford home, and Cooey's sister gives investigators permission to search her home. Police find a blood-stained mattress and pillows in Cooey's closet. DNA from Cooey and Jessica Lunsford is found on the mattress. John Cooey confesses to kidnapping the 9-year-old in the middle of the night from her own bedroom, bringing her back to his room and raping her. While police and volunteers searched outside, Cooey keeps Jessica Lunsford hidden in a closet for several days before tricking the little girl into getting into a garbage bag by telling her he's taking her home. Cooey then buries Jessica alive in his yard about 150 yards from her own home. Jessica dies from suffocation inside the garbage bags, clutching her prized purple dolphin.
So how did Cooey's sister and people coming in and out of the house not realize this is a mobile home? There's a little girl being held there and raped repeatedly and then buried alive. How does that happen? I recall a dad who was joining me on air about his missing son. Does the name Charles Bothell ring a bell? Listen.
Charlie Bethel is reported missing by his parents, and Detroit police and volunteers begin searching immediately. The case gains national attention, and after Charlie has been missing 11 days, Nancy Grace picks up the story, and Charlie Bethel's father is actually on the air with Nancy Grace when Nancy tells him his son has been found alive.
I remember
Little
this.
Charlie Bethel was found imprisoned in the family basement.
Out to the father of the missing 12-year-old boy, Charlie. With me is his father, Charlie Bothell. Charlie, we're getting reports that your son has been found in your basement.
What? He's in the basement, man.
Sir,
Can you imagine Nancy?
Mr. Bothell, are you?
Imagine Nancy is interviewing you outside of your home, right? About your missing child. And then she goes like this, you know how she does with her earpiece. Listens in while she's still talking. I don't know how she can do two things at once. I can't. And then she goes, and we found him in the basement. Can you? He was trying to think of a lie really quick.
What? Yeah, we are getting reports that your son has been found alive in your basement.
What?
Yes, that's what. If you could hand me that wire very quickly. Yeah, we're getting that right now from. Yeah, how could your son be alive in your basement?
I have no idea.
You can stop right there. So how
This is when
do
I first
people
remember
not
Nancy.
realize a child is being held in their own home? Joining me is Eric Faddis, partner, Varner Faddis Elite Legal, former felony prosecutor. You can find him at varnerfaddis.com. Eric, do you buy for 1 minute that these people involved here in standing by and seeing Ella there with a registered sex offender, they knew who he was and they did nothing? Do you think they should escape prosecution? Because I don't.
Okay. Yeah, Nancy, it boggles the mind to suggest that these family members didn't know a strange 14-year-old girl was in their house with their sex offender relative. It doesn't pass the smell test, you know? And in Colorado, at least, there's a law that criminalizes harboring a runaway. And I've got to believe Michigan has a corollary, and I've got to believe law enforcement is looking into that.
Miss Merrill, when did you find out that the suspect was actually a registered sex offender?
When we identified the suspect before we had confirmation, I was able to do some internet searching and realized that the suspect was, in fact, had previous crimes associated and was on the registry.
So you found that part out, that piece of the puzzle, through your own searches, correct?
Yes, and then through the assistance of Bill Garcia as well.
To Lieutenant Dave Shackleton from Mount Vernon PD, who worked on this case. Again, congratulations. It's kind of bittersweet to say congratulations. I felt the same way whenever I would get a guilty verdict, Lieutenant. People would say congratulations. And I understand their kind sentiment, but it was always after a felony crime, a rape, a child molestation, a murder. So it's kind of hard to take congratulations under those circumstances, but I still congratulate you and all the LE that worked on this case, because Ella's alive. And you know the stats as well as I do, Lieutenant. The longer he kept Ella, the more likely she would meet physical harm, serious physical harm, as in murder, to get rid of evidence. But I'm curious, Lieutenant Shackleton, people just standing around, they know this girl doesn't belong there. They know this guy is a child pornographer. He's a registered sex offender, yet they do nothing. I bet you see that every day. People who do nothing.
Yeah, Nancy, it was definitely bittersweet, knowing that she was found, but yet she was there for 3 weeks with him. And we sure would have liked to have that information earlier, and that, he was with a registered sex.
Ella, you're a beautiful girl. I hope you hear this. You're a beautiful girl. Oh my gosh. What the hell? Honey, I hope you hear this. What the hell? You're beautiful. You're 14. You got your whole life. Oh my gosh, you got your whole life. There's so many boys that are going to be in and out. You know what I mean? This one, that's why the boys were mad at school. You need to be around the boys at school. I like them.
Sex offenders.
I like the
Very
school
disturbing.
kids. They were smart.
Do we know the configuration, Allie, Jenner, John? Were they 3 houses side by side? Were they connected? What type of a compound was this?
Yeah, and I think that's great perspective too. And part of the reason why me and my photographer actually went to the property and walked up, the driveway to find out a little more. So if you can see it from the road, but it definitely is kind of back in the woods. We walked up the long driveway and there are 3 structures and a shed there. One looks like a home that's very livable in. It's the first one I knock on. I knock on the door, and keep in mind, we're just coming out of watching his arraignment. So in the arraignment, his public defender said, he has been living with his dad for the past 4 years. That's the information we had. So going there thinking, the dad, as far as we know, hasn't been arrested yet. Potentially he'll come to the door. I knock on the door, wait a few seconds, maybe a full minute, and an older woman comes to the door and she says, "What do you want?" And I said, there was an arrest that happened here, just looking for more information to see if, family members all live in these structures. And she just said, "I know nothing about an arrest." I say, "Okay." So I walk away. I knock on the other doors. No response. They didn't. I guess they didn't really look like people had been living in them.
So you know nothing. So you know nothing about the 14-year-old girl that was hiding out in your house for 3 weeks. Okay.
The one that the woman came to looked like where most people might live. So that was all we got from the property, and we walked away, and that was all we got. Just an older woman is all we communicated with.
So basically, the suspect lied. He was not living there with family, including his father. Question: the other 2 structures, did they look livable? You said 3 structures and a shed.
One of them looked like it was under construction, and that there was definitely, I could see through the windows, you could go in and out of it. I did not see inside of it though. And then the other one, I didn't end up even knocking on the door because I could see inside of it, and it looked like from the ground that maybe no one was living in there. Perhaps you could go in it, but I guess from my own opinion, it didn't look like anyone was living there.
Which indicates to me that the suspect, Keith Daniel Frickson, had the little girl in the structure where the woman came to the door. I'm deducing that. I don't know that. Nobody's told me that. Lieutenant Shackleton didn't spill the beans, which makes it, in my mind, even worse. How could they not know? Joining me, Dr. Sherrif, forensic psychologist who specializes in forensic psychology and criminal behavior at panthermitigation.com. Dr. Sherrif, thank you for being with us. What is the phenomena? And I'm going to follow this up with Lieutenant Shackleton. Dr. Sherrif Schwartz, have you ever seen the long-running TV show Cops? Have you ever seen that?
Of course.
Okay. In many episodes, the cops storm into a home and they run through the den to go to the back of the home to make an arrest. And there's a guy just sitting there in the easy chair having a beer, watching TV, and the cops all run by, and he just keeps sitting there like nothing happened, because I guess he's used to it. How can people see a little girl that they don't know come in and stay for 3 weeks, possibly in the same bedroom with a sex offender, and not think, wow, who is she? How does that happen?
Well, when you're dealing with somebody like this individual that's a sexual predator, and it's not to take up for the people in the home, they're clearly woefully ignorant to what's going on, and we don't know why. But one thing I will say about individuals like child sexual predators is that their predatory nature makes them master manipulators. So who knows what he told them about who Ella was?
He could have said that he was taking care of her for a friend, or that she was his girlfriend and lied and said that she was older than she actually was. Or they're living in an environment where they just don't ask, don't tell, right? That people live in really dysfunctional environments where things like this happen. Or he's made a situation where she can't make a sound and she's literally hiding in there.
Okay, some of those are pretty good scenarios. What about Lieutenant Shackleton? People that act like nothing is happening. What is wrong with them?
Yeah, it's tough. We would definitely like to know and have people come forward and give us any sort of information that could help, or if it seems wrong, come forward that information.
Lieutenant Shackleton, you know why I need somebody like you?
I'll tell you why people don't say anything. Because if they say something that's going to disrupt their life, and they're going to have to deal with whatever it is, and they don't want to deal with it, so they just look the other way. Because they're like, no, too busy doing my own thing in my own life. That's what I think, personally. I think it's just people being lazy. They know what's going on. They see it. But they'd rather not get involved. Me, I would get all up in that. That's just me.
Because you're so calm and even keeled. Because when I think of this little girl just turned 14,
happy
in the
birthday.
bedroom with a child pornographer,
We think you're
I
16
get
here.
crazy and angry. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 7 days, 14 days, 3 weeks. You think they're back there having a tea party? Hell no. And if one of these witnesses had come forward, think of the anguish. This child could have been saved. Think of the anguish. Her mother could have been saved. They all need to go to jail together and stew in the same pot. But that's just me. How did this whole thing happen? Take a listen to Nicole Parton, Crime Online.
On January 6, Sarah Merrill contacts the Mount Vernon, Washington Police Department and reports her 14-year-old daughter, Ella Jones, is missing. Since she left home, Ella Jones has not made contact with any family members or friends. Ella Jones is 5 foot 5 inches tall, has brown eyes and brown hair. Ella has very distinctive dimples. She was believed to be wearing a black hooded sweatshirt, multicolored plaid pajamas, and black Nike Air Force shoes.
You know what's interesting about what we're hearing Lieutenant Shackleton with so many things? We say Ella did not contact her family. Seems to me that Ella was not allowed to contact her family.
That's definitely a possibility. Definitely concerning anytime this happens, and still involved in the investigation to find out if that is in fact whether she was prevented from doing that or if that was a choice.
How do you handle a little girl that you save? I mean, you can't just come out and say, were you molested? Were you beaten? You really got to handle these things with kid gloves. I know this from prosecuting so many child molestation cases, and many of the child victims that I represented also had learning disabilities and all sorts of trauma inflicted on them. It's really hard to know the right questions, Lieutenant, and how to phrase them and when not to bring it up. What is your standard operating procedure on that?
Sure, with children and victims, you want to tread very lightly and give them the opportunity to share their story in their own words and ask those open-ended questions that allows them to do that in a safe manner.
So I guess you guys bring in a psychologist or a social worker, to help question Ella in the right way, correct?
You can. A lot of agencies have their officers trained in child interview techniques. And so when Van Buren County interviewed her, I'm not sure what types of other people or themselves did.
I'm just thinking about what this child lived through, and more. Can you imagine what Ella's mom went through that morning when she realized Ella was not in her room? Listen.
Ella Jones's friends reached Ella's mother, telling her Ella had been talking to an older man on social media. A couple of kids did see her speaking to an adult male on a video on our computer. Merrill said during the COVID-19 pandemic, Ella reportedly met an adult male on the social media platform called Omegle. The site became very popular among teens, but was shut down last November. According to Merrill, the site was like a roulette, saying it just matches you with random people.
Since the site closed down last November, they continue to talk using Discord. Sarah confronts her daughter and, as punishment, takes away her phone temporarily.
So that was the impetus. That started it all off. And it came to that morning. Listen.
The next morning, Sarah Merrill did not wake up Ella Jones early. It was Saturday. By 11 a.m., Merrill had made breakfast, but Ella was still not up. She went to Ella's room and saw that she was gone. Her window was open, but her phone, keys, and computer were left behind.
Sarah Merrill realizes her 14-year-old daughter, Ella Jones, has vanished. Ella left a cryptic message for her mother. The message said she loved me and that she didn't want to hurt us anymore. It appears Ella knew where she was going because she took some of her belongings, clothes, her blow dryer. She also took her mother's flat iron. So Merrill went to Ella's friend's house right away and started asking questions.
Joining me, Anna Sonoda, child grooming expert, licensed clinical social worker, and author of Duck, Duck, Groom, Understanding How a Child Becomes a Target. Anna Sonoda, thank you for being with us. I bet your head is spinning round and around based on what you're hearing. There's no way that this little girl had any idea the Keith that she was talking to online on Discord was actually a registered sex offender.
Yeah, Nancy, I think it's important for us to start with the concept that Ella is 14. She has no agency. She has no resources. She left probably the greatest safety tool that kids are armed with these days, which is a phone, and got into a vehicle with someone who had groomed her. And it's so important for your listeners to understand that predators are fueled by gas, grooming, access, and space. What was the available space to Ella and to Keith? The virtual realm. And what he did is he used flattery and favoritism, and the forbidden fruit in this case would be freedom. I'll come and get you. We can live together. I love you. I care about you. He conned this little child into believing that she could trust him. And that is the greatest insight to come out of this, thankfully, this situation for parents and listeners, that no one can be trusted online and that we need to do everything we can in our own homes to prevent access within virtual spaces as well as in-person spaces.
You know, it's very unusual that you have a stranger on stranger child abduction when you look at statistics. But isn't it true that the likelihood a child will live past 72 hours in a stranger on stranger abduction is very, very low?
Well, in this circumstance, so many kids who are using social media don't believe that those individuals are strangers. It was indicated that it's been months that they've been communicating through different platforms, and the relationship was formed via these online spaces. So it's important for us to remember that what our definition maybe as adults of knowing somebody and trusting someone, this was fast tracked by this predator identifying this girl and grooming her. And who's to know that she's the only one? It would be very interesting to evaluate his history on his computer to see how many other young children he's contacted.
Yeah, I'm wondering how that investigation is going to take place. In other words, Eric Faddis, a veteran felony prosecutor, now private attorney, the evidence that can be gleaned from his cell phone, his laptop, if he's got one, his devices is going to be very valuable at trial. We don't know if Ella will be able to testify. We hope she can.
I bet there's
And
more girls
I
on his
know
computer.
that's traumatic. And I know that's hard on a child.
Me too, Aries.
But
I get it too.
years on, she will look back and be glad that someone took up for her, someone prosecuted the bad guy, and that he went to jail. So that's how that works. And it's very hurtful and painful, but you have to do the right thing. Explain to me, Eric Faddis, how important his devices are.
Oh, Nancy, they are critical to this case. And you better believe that there are multiple search warrants either in the works or that have already been executed. They're going to get all of the digital devices, and they're going to be able to look into what this gentleman was researching online, what messages he was sending, and to whom, his social media activity, any photos or videos that are on his phone that he God forbid may have taken during this entire transaction. So that is really going to be the nail in the coffin, I think, for the defendant in this case.
Many people are speculating what happened to Ella during those 3 weeks. I can tell you this, nothing good. We know the defendant, Ali Jennerjohn, joining us from WWMT TV, is a convicted child pornographer. I believe he lied about where he was living, and I also believe, from what I can glean, that he was under basically no supervision at all. So, what does the fox do when he has to leave his foxhole? He finds another foxhole, and he finds another hen house. So that's what this guy did too. I'm just telling you, it's just natural. It's just nature for him to do the same thing he's always done.
Yeah, I mean, we're pushing for tons of answers, and I will say, when it comes to a lot of the stories we do, I've worked very closely with Van Buren County Sheriff's Office, which is the group here that ultimately went in and found the victim and arrested the suspect. And I feel like usually we can work pretty closely and get answers from them, but they're very tight-lipped on this one. And I understand it's multiple different states. I believe from the press conference we learned FBI was involved, so we're waiting to hear if charges will come from that. And I wish would love to insert my opinion and things like this too, but the facts are so limited from authorities right now for us on the local level.
Ali Jennerjohn, what else have you learned during your investigation about the case?
So we definitely learned that he had, I believe it was 10 felonies. This is all according to court records, 10 felony charges out of Seminole County, Florida for child pornography. And that obviously is piquing our interest in terms of digging into more. Deputies won't confirm what social media platform, but we've obviously scoured the many that are rumored to be involved, and noticed, like you had mentioned, many were shut down. I think our focus right now is really leaning into the probable cause. We've asked and requested in Van Buren County, they record them. So we're hoping to get some more information from that in terms of what led to this search warrant. We do know that it was the car parked on their property, is what the sheriff said, that ultimately led to them feeling confident, they were there, we can go and find this suspect. And all he would say about that car is that they know it went across the country. So, we can make assumptions from that as well. But I think the dirt of everything is
wonder if
really
that's the
gonna fall
Volkswagen,
in
the
that probable
2017.
cause hearing that is thankfully recorded. And when we get our hands on that, that information will be out there as soon as possible.
Is it your belief, Ali Jennerjohn, that he crossed the country to see this girl?
Mm-hmm.
What I know is that deputies say the car outside of his home did travel across the country and back.
Okay, so we're putting together 2 + 2 to get 4. Lieutenant Dave Shackleton, what comes next?
Well, with the investigation ongoing, we've obviously got that trip all the way from Michigan to Mount Vernon and then back. And so following up on any of that information, continuing the searches of either the physical devices or search warrants out to the companies themselves to get back whatever information we can to share with prosecutors so they can take a look at the evidence in totality and come up with the correct charging decision.
To imagine a little 14-year-old girl with a registered sex offender traveling all the way from Mount Vernon, upstate Washington State, all the way to South Haven, Michigan. what ensued there, we may never know. Miss Merrill, I want to hear your message because you have a very, very powerful message that you want to give parents and social media and the social media giants that are sitting up in their penthouses right now, very, very far away from me and you and Ella. What is your message to them?
The safety precautions and accountability for those companies are not nearly enough. They leave every single child in America vulnerable to any predator who takes any interest in finding them. Us as parents can do anything and everything we can to try to mitigate things and talk with your children and keep them safe. But predators are good at their job, and predators shouldn't be allowed to be there as easily as they are. And companies who allow their platforms to be used by just anyone or by any person without any type of age verification can tell us that they have accounts set up with safety precautions for children, but nobody actually enforces that the children are using those things. They can say they're any age at all. So they are placating us by saying that they have these safety measures, but nobody is actually making sure the safety measures are enforced, and nobody is holding them accountable to make them do that.
You know, when you joined us before, when we were searching desperately to find Ella, your beautiful girl, everyone on the panel and online is saying, well, why didn't you do this? And you should do this and you should do that. Guess what? You were doing it all. And I think those voices are rooted in this. People feel better when they can blame something because it takes them away from it happening to them. Here's a good example. Let's go with Karina Vitrano, whose father I have befriended, Phil. His daughter goes out jogging and she is attacked and murdered. All online. Anyone could say was, well, why did she jog by herself? Why did she have on a jogging bra? Why did she this? Why did she wear earbuds? Blah, 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 blah. Because then they, not to attack her, but then they could tell themselves, well, that's not going to happen to me. And that's not going to happen to my little girl because I would never let her fill in the blank. See what I mean? So it makes everyone feel safer and that their children are safe. But the reality is they're not. And I can scream it to the mountaintops, but back me up, Sarah Merrill. They're not safe.
They're not. There was just recently that hearing through the Senate with the Committee for Internet Safety for Children, and that was pretty profound as far as timing for me. I did take the time to watch that, and it's a problem. Everybody knows it's a problem, and something needs to be done.
Your voice is not alone, and we will do our best here to make your voice be heard. For right now, for today, for this moment, all I can say is PTL. Praise the Lord. God bless you and your little girl in her recovery. She's got a wonderful, wonderful mother. And I think that's about 99% of the battle. Thank you for being with us. We wait as justice unfolds. Goodbye, friend.
It's a heavy case, you know. I mean, it's a different one than what we're used to covering on the channel. Normally we cover missing kids and they don't come back. But we had Charlotte Cena, we've had Brooks, what was that little boy's name? Scotty Brooks. Okay, it took me a minute. Scotty Brooks. So I mean, it does happen, but it's not very often. And so for her to be across country, I mean, across the country, Washington to Michigan, I mean, you can't get much further than that. And for the officers to be able to find her where she left her phone, she left her friends, she left her family behind. I mean, I don't know how she had the will to do that. You can tell by her mom's voice and listening to her mom and seeing her mom on all these, her mom was anywhere that they would let her be. You can tell she comes from a good home. She has, family. She has a little brother, I believe, a little sister. It's crazy. Thanks, Avamos. I actually got this necklace when I learned how to walk. My friend got it for me. She was a jeweler and she bought this for me. It has like diamonds around like this little circle and it has my birthstone. Thank you. And you can wear it as like a long necklace or short. I never wear it, but I've been wearing it lately because I'm like, it's the 9th will be my 10-year anniversary from my car accident. So that's probably why I've been wearing it. It's like my subconscious is telling me to wear that. Let's wear this. But today I actually jogged into the house I ran to like throw the trash out and I jogged back in like just a little. And I had like, when I stopped, I was like, you did it. Like you just jogged a little. Cause like, I'm not supposed to, they told me I would never walk, let alone run again. So I'm like, look at me go. So Catherine said the grass is not greener on the other side. Yes, sometimes it's not, That's why you just need to water your own grass, just water your own lawn. Take care of your own. But I think that, maybe she's going to realize that the ground, she was staying in a compound with this weirdo dude. She's 14. What's she have in common with a 30-year-old? 30. Like I'm 38 and I couldn't even see me having anything in common with somebody that's 28. And that's only 10 years. And that's over this side of the hump, where you're legal beagle. I don't know, it's just me. My mom and dad were 9 years apart though, so I shouldn't say much. And me and Vincent are 3.5 or something. Yeah. It sure isn't. Yeah, it's not. Just water your own grass and hopefully it grows every spring and summer. It doesn't die off so much in the winter, but that's just how it goes. I think that she's going to need a lot of counseling, a lot of therapy. When I was 14, I couldn't imagine being like, like that far across country. That was my little paperwork from the doctor today, but thanks, Alvamo. She said, Tanya, you're resilient. They put me back together. Wow. I actually met my new spine doctor today. He wants me to do therapy. And I'm like, I hate you. I hate therapy. But he's like, when's the last time you done this physical therapy? And I was like, 10 years ago when you had me in the hospital. I was like, when I didn't have to do it, I was out of there. But I'm going to go back. I need to do it. But he was asking me like what my injuries were. He's like, oh, what happened? Like, what were your injuries? And I'm like, oh, he didn't look. So I said, oh, I lost my eye. And he was like, he looked at me and he was like, which one? And I was like, my right one. And he was like, wow. And he was like, wow. That made me feel really good today, because he didn't even notice. And then he asked me what I did for a living. And I told him true crime on YouTube. And like everybody I've told that to has looked me up. So if you're watching, hello, shout out to Ohio State. Put my name on the building. I spent a ton of money there. You do home health physical therapy for 24 years. Okay, Avamos, now I can get down with some home health physical therapy. They need to come to me. Now I could do that. Because then they'd come to me and I'd have to be accountable. Do you know? Because I wouldn't have to go to them. They would be at my door knocking on it. Now I could maybe do something like that. It's just me going. I hate it. Yeah, like that's what Ladybug, she said, like we talked about running away in our teen years, but not that far. No, like my friends were going to run away one time from Ohio to Vegas to get married. And I told you guys this story before. And we made it to Cincinnati, like 2 hours from my hometown. And I was like, I'm not going. I was just trying to stop her from going. And after I realized like we're about to cross the state line, I was like, I'm out. Like we were on the border of the states. Like I was like, I got to get out of the car. It was like a powerful force stopped me from going across the state line. I went to a hospital. Oh, I was going to read this letter to you that she wrote before I get off here because I thought this was really, really sad, but it's the letter that it's going around now. So it's the letter that Ella wrote that her mom found. And she said it was in Ella's handwriting, but it looked to be way more legible. So this was what the letter said. Dear Mom, I'm sorry that I left, but I just hate being such a problem and can't bring myself to hurt you all any more than I have. I don't want you to feel guilty about me leaving because it isn't your fault at all. I love you so much and I want you to have an okay life without me fucking it up all the time. I know me doing this is going to hurt you all a lot, but in the long run, it will be for the better. I will come back someday, I promise. Always know that I love you all so much, and I am here. Or I'm never going to forgive myself for all the pain I've caused you and Dad. Make sure Cyrus knows I love him so much, and I am so sorry for how I treated him. When he is older, please tell him I made that landscape for Skeeter for Rylan. I did. I think it says I do. Or, I don't know what this says. Sorry. Case and wanted a great relationship with you. I do. I think it says I did. I do. Like, yeah, I did / I do. Care and want a great relationship with you. I just didn't feel like I could change, and I just couldn't hurt you more than I already have. I love you so much, and I'm sorry. Tell Dad and Jenna, Mimo, I love them so much. Please forgive me one day. Love, Ella. So sad. Yeah, so this was Ella. Yeah. Doesn't it sound like she's trying to? That's whenever they first said no, I was like, what? I was like, a note. And then she said it was more legible. I was thinking this is gonna be bad. I thought she was committing suicide. But this was Ella's note to her, like to her parent, to her mom and dad, to her family. So it's very sad. You have to be in such a place where you don't feel like you can talk to your parents, but you can talk to this 30-year-old man. Like that's no, so it was just the note that she wrote to her mom. I think it kind of sounds like one, but it was just her running away note in a way. But I mean, if I would have found that, I would have been, oh my gosh. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Like, what was going on that she felt like she was a burden? I know they have 2 other kids. Were they like busy with the other kids a lot? Was something going on? I just hope that, I hope that she gets the help that she needs, because she seems like a really sweet girl, seeing the pictures and stuff. But I'll keep up on this case, and I'll make sure I tell you guys anything that happens that's new when he goes to court, arraignment, all that stuff. I'll let you guys know. And so today, before I jump off here, we're going to do a live over it. But Adam Montgomery decided that he was going to plead guilty to 2 of the charges. So the abuse of a corpse and falsifying evidence, he told the judge that he was guilty of those 2 things. So now they're still doing the second degree unaliving. And I'm thinking he's going to hold Harmony's remains over the state's over the state's head, to be like, okay, I'll tell you where she is if you give me like manslaughter, or drop the charges down. I think he's going to try to do something stupid like that. But he abused his daughter, and he ended up unaliving her, point blank period. He needs to go to jail for that. Ashton from Space is how I'm reminding. She's not pregnant. No, she's not. I don't know where Jan is. Maybe she's sleeping early tonight. See, PKC, that's what I said. She said, PKC said, didn't they recently move and she was missing old friends? So she was from New York, and that's where I thought they were heading, but I don't know. Yeah, he did. Yeah, where is Jan? Where is that Jan? She's in trouble. Isabel's probably sleeping. I'm surprised Isabel wasn't in tonight because it was 8:15, but I think she's been waking up at 6:30, so she wakes up so early now. I feel bad, making her come into the chat. But Isabel, like, up until like the last couple of months, she rode hard every day for like a year. Like, being in a chat, and it's like 2 o'clock in the morning where she's at, or 3 in the morning. Every night she was in here. I can't expect more from her. Like, if she never came into the chat again, I hope she never would do that. But you know what I mean? Like, she's really ride or die. Oh, nice candy. I do that too on Fetch. I need to remind myself to do that more, that chicken noodle girl. Because I go shopping, like I go somewhere at least once a day, and I never scan my receipts. If you guys don't know about that app, Fetch, it's a good app. I got a $10 gift card for Amazon one time because I had so many points, and I never scan my document things. But you just scan your receipt, and then it'll give you like points, and you can use your points to get like free gift cards and stuff like that. That's what I used mine for. I just couldn't wait anymore. I was like, I need the gift card. Need to buy something. Speaking of buying something, we actually got a table delivered today, and it's massive. It's so pretty, and I have to I get to decorate it. So I'm excited to decorate it. And I'll have to take you guys with me when I go pick out stuff to put on there, because it's big. It's big. So I went to put I have this like little picture frame that's like this big, and it's a picture of a tree. And I put Vincent's dad in there. And it's his like picture that they had on his program from when he passed away. And I brought the picture back out and I sat it down on there, and Vincent started laughing, and he was like, he looks so small. I'm like, we need to give him a bigger picture frame. It's kind of funny. But I'll have to I have to give you guys show you guys all these pictures. Like, we're done pretty much, except for like trees and a couple little things. We're done. And I want to show you the whole place. So I think I'm gonna make Vincent record it, and I'll do like a MTV Cribs type of deal thing. So, but I'm gonna jump off of here for the night. I have to get some sleep. I've been up since 4 something this morning. I woke up at like 4:15. I was like, why am I doing that? But thank you guys all for being here tonight. Appreciate you so much. I'll be back tomorrow, 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Should be. If not, I may take tomorrow off. If I do, I will let you guys know via community post. So thank you guys all for being here tonight. And I will see you guys all tomorrow. Hey, True Crime. Oh, sorry. I was on my other page. I just saw you on the iPad. Well, I will see you guys all tomorrow. And hey, True Crime and other stuff, don't let me forget. I want to show your puppies. But I wanted to show them when you were in the live. She got some cute ones. Makes me want a dog. Makes me want another one. I don't need another. But thank you guys so much. And I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Bye, guys.